between the car and the gutter, in between the car and the curb. And I bent down and I rested his head on my lap. The brain matter fell between my fingers. I had to go to his sister and his little brother and his mother, and I got to go back and say, he got killed hanging out with me. Who the am I?
They say shots were fired at a group of officers early this morning as it approached a Southside building. CLTV's Aaron Baskerville is outside Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn.
It happened while officers were executing a search warrant on the south side. Chicago police blanket the scene near 79th and Clyde Avenue. Around 5:30 this morning, investigators say they were under fire while executing a search warrant. They say an offender allegedly emerged from a vehicle and opened fire on Clyde, with police shooting back. A weapon was recovered from the scene. The family of the man who was shot stood on the corner searching for answers. In Oak Lawn, Aaron Baskerville, CLTV News.
They had to have weapons to equalize, you know, to equalize our numbers.
You know, we weren't flying kites and shooting marbles anymore. Now we're shooting at people. Putting in work can consist of writing your name on walls, spray painting, robbing people, beating people. You rise in the ranks by what you've done. Obviously, the more work you put in for the set, the bigger your reputation.
I came part of a gang when I was in my mid-teens, like 13, 14 years old. Basically, where I grew up at, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, in the heart of the ghetto, where it's, there's a lot of different types of gangs. Really one more particular was Black Gangster Disciples, and there was the Young Rookies. I stayed, there was neither or, but we was more surrounded by the Black Gangster Disciples, and it was more sort of taking over turf. And we basically stayed in the project where it was about where we stayed at. It wasn't about no turf or nothing, and we just fought for what we thought was ours. And so we had a lot of problems going through troubles with the Black Gangster Disciples, because they was just about taking over turf, so which made us turn into our own gangs, and we became Vice Lords, which was known as the Career Insane Vice Lords. And as years went on, we was more like shooting at each other because they was trying to get our turf, and we was just basically holding those out because it was just one building by ourselves, and it was known as a family building. Everybody was family. I can go to my friend's house and eat, he can come to my house and eat. If I did something wrong, his mother whooped me. If he did something wrong, my mother whooped him, so it was more like a family building. It wasn't about just having somewhere to be, But the disciples, they was more so of just wanted land. The more land they had, the more land that they can do things and make things happen. Drug game came into the picture, whereas everybody started selling drugs to make money, to buy fancy cars, guns. A lot of people thought they were just buying guns, just because they knew eventually it was going to be a big war between us and them, and guns was the main thing that you needed to keep them away. I missed out on a lot of things coming up gang back. I never had the chance to really go to school. I couldn't go to school because they was trying to get me, so I had to leave school just to be still out here today. But even though I did it, I still went back and got what I was supposed to get did. But I miss out on like a lot of opportunities as far as jobs that I want now, I can't get due to my background, so I look at that and I esteem it in my kids, to do better than me. That's why I say, you have to lead by example to make things happen for you and your family. And today's society is not doing that. They're more so on basically what can we do for the government. It's not what can we do for these young black youths out here. It's more about what can we do for the government to get more money here, to get more money there. They're funding programs, but you don't hear about no programs for the young youths. If it is, it's about basketball. It's about basketball, whereas they feel that's going to bring money because the youth will learn that, that's what they're going to learn. But it's not about no program where they can get knowledge and the wisdom that they need to be a doctor, a lawyer, something like, in those type of fields. And that's why I say it's not a positive, to me, it's not a positive activity or venture that they're out here doing for the youth. And with that said, these youths out here just feel, okay, well, we don't have no help, then we're gonna do it on our own.
He got involved with the wrong people, and he got involved into a life of crime. And I felt helpless. I felt like I had been all around this country and outside of this country trying to help other kids, trying to save lives, and I couldn't save my son.
I have one regret. What I put together was a platform for death, and the people that died believing in what I believed in, that is my only regret. Because with the power of life and death in my hands, I don't have the power to bring them back.
One, roll 3, and action. In your opinion, how has gangs in any way influenced your family?
Has influence in my family?
Uh-huh.
A lot of ways.
How so?
I got a son out there that's don't want to do what you tell him. I try to talk to him, and he seems to not listen. So now he locked up doing 11 months of being out here with the wrong crowd, they could be gang related. I don't know if he's in the game. I can't say he is if I don't know. I'm just trying to keep him away from the games and the crime and violence and stuff. I'm trying to keep him off the street from that. I try to talk to him, seeing that he don't want to listen. So now what I'm trying to do now when we get out to jail tomorrow, I'm going to try to help him stay out of trouble, lead him to something right, possible try to get him back in school, and find something to do for him. Just get something to do for him.
Do you think him going to jail had anything to do with either him hanging out with people that were in gangs or?
Probably hanging out with people that's in gangs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has
the wrong crowd, you will get caught up.
Has the church or any like social organizations done anything, in your opinion, to help stop gangs or gang violence?
No, not in my opinion. I don't think so. No.
What do you think they should be doing?
I think they should be trying to find these kids something to do, for one thing. Need to find them something to do, find them jobs, let them get in some school or something, get a degree, diplomas and stuff, help them get a job. That way it won't be so many young kids out on the street gang banging, and find something for them to do. Because there's something out there for these kids to do.
How do you feel about gangs? I mean, what do you think about it personally? I mean, in your opinion, why would you think a person would decide to join a gang? I mean, is it due to income?
They probably ain't got nothing else to do, and they let their friends encourage them, and well, man, you can join in. So they figure they'll join the gang.
You think it's also like maybe income, or I know a lot of people say it's because the father's not present in the house and that kind of stuff.
It could be that too. It could be their father ain't present, so they decide they go join the gang instead of staying listening to their mothers, listening to their parents. They ain't got one parent, and the other one absent, so they gonna try the best to do what they can do. Listen to others.
Now, what about
follow the friend rule? They gonna be with gang. The friend in game, they gonna join the gang.
Now, what about your son? I mean, how's
Wasn't listening. He only had one parent. The other parent was absent. So I figured if Woody had been around, he would have been listening to Woody.
and any advice that you have to give him when he comes home?
Yeah, I got a lot of advice for him. He gonna do something. He gonna go to school or, get in some kind of program. That's what I want him to do. And that's what I'm gonna lead him up to doing. Getting in the program or either going to school. But he won't be in trouble because he gonna be inside. I'm gonna try to keep this man on the street.
But who was like a major influence in your life, and how do you think that person might have been able to or might be able to help your son and help other teenagers by not influencing them with getting
They
engaged?
need probably just get a lot of discipline, and if they got peoples out there really helping them, leading them to something right, I think they will be able to, do something besides get out there and gangbang. They got somebody to help them and guide them through it. They can do something. I believe they'll go to school, find, help them get a job or something. I think they'll do something they like.
Well, how does it make you feel with gangs being around? And we've heard about all the people recently being, like there was 2 teenagers within the last year that were killed on CTA buses. They were in high school. How does this make you feel about your own personal safety, about what's going on as far as gangs and gang violence is concerned?
Well, it's scary, but I just do what I do. I go in, come out, and go to work, and back in the house. I don't have no involvement with them, no gangbangers. I don't talk to them. I try to stay away from them. I don't know. I just go my way and do what I do. I stays in the house. I don't come outside. Unless I'm going to work, taking care of business. Other than that, I'm in the house.
So like not going out, enjoying a nice day, just walking around or something like that?
Maybe to the store and back in.
So you kind of feel like you're a prisoner in your own apartment?
But it ain't. I've never liked, being out anyway. Ain't nothing out on the street. There's too much stuff happening out here. Why? I don't know. Just drugs, game. I'm not with it. I'm trying to stay away from all of that.
And any advice you need or want to tell parents about their kids? From your own personal experience, some of the stuff that you've seen? Or
they need to see what their child doing, try to help them get in school, find a job, talk to them. Like I heard people say, make sure they ain't got no guns and stuff in your house. Check on your kids. Because as mine was coming up, my mama used to go to school with them every day. Take them. Which it should have been my job. But I was working. I worked nights, so she felt she'll get up and go check on them. Stay in school, volunteer up at the school, in and out on them.
so she was a big influence in their lives.
Right. She was a big influence, and that's might be the thing that happening with my son now. He probably bigger, since she's not here, he ain't got nobody, like her when she was going to the school with them and dropping them off and staying. I just think it's probably because she ain't here. That's why he doing this, what he's doing. And letting his friends encourage him and doing stuff.
Okay, cool, thanks. Appreciate it. Now I'm just going to do some candid shots. false. I would always try to do it on the side. So they respect it.